At 90, I've seen a century of change, triumphs, and heartaches. I've gathered a lifetime of lessons. But if there's one piece of advice I wish I'd embraced sooner, it's this: don't let fear dictate your choices. For too many years, I played it safe, staying within the lines, convinced that comfort meant security. But in hindsight, those cautious steps often led to the biggest regrets. Perhaps you're at a crossroads, pondering a significant life change, or simply wondering if there's more to life than the path you're on. Maybe you feel the pressure to conform, to choose what's sensible. But before you settle, I want to share 5 truths I learned the hard way, lessons that might just inspire you to rewrite your own story. Because true fulfillment isn't found in a life without risks. It's found in the courage to live authentically. Truth 1. The cost of unlived dreams, the biggest illusion I clung to for decades, was the idea that there would always be someday. Someday, I'd write that book. Someday, I'd travel to those far-off lands. Someday, I'd truly pursue my passions. But someday is a phantom, a whisper that fades with each passing year. I remember my early adult life, brimming with artistic aspirations. I loved to paint, to lose myself in colors and canvases. Friends and family would say, "That's lovely, dear, but what about a real career?" So I tucked away my brushes and pursued a more practical path. I had a good job, a stable life, all the things society told me I should want. Yet a quiet ache persisted, a sense of something vital missing. It wasn't until my late 60s, after retiring, that I tentatively picked up a paintbrush again. The joy was immense, but it was also tinged with regret. Decades had slipped by, decades where I could have honed my craft, created a body of work, perhaps even shared my art with others. The biggest shock wasn't the unlearned techniques, but the realization that I had denied a fundamental part of myself for so long. The hardest part? Acknowledging that the dreams we defer don't just disappear. They leave a void. You can't reclaim lost time, but you can choose to start now. If you're holding back on a dream, ask yourself, what is the real cost of waiting? Because the only someday guaranteed is the present moment. Truth 2. The echo of unspoken words. We often guard our feelings, fearing vulnerability, or believing that some things are better left unsaid. But the weight of unspoken words can be heavier than any mountain. Throughout my life, there were moments I held back. A heartfelt apology that never left my lips. A loving affirmation I kept to myself. A disagreement that festered because I chose silence over honest conversation. I told myself it was to keep the peace, to avoid conflict, to protect myself or others. But what it often did was create distance, misunderstandings, and regret. I think of my relationship with my younger brother, John. We had a silly falling out in our youth, a misunderstanding that escalated because neither of us bothered to truly talk it through. Years passed, then decades. We saw each other at family gatherings, exchanged polite pleasantries, but the warmth, the genuine connection we once shared, was gone. I always intended to clear the air, to reminisce about our childhood, to tell him how much I valued him. But I waited, and then he was gone. The hardest part? Knowing that some doors, once closed by silence, can never be reopened. Our connections with others are fragile and precious. If you have words in your heart, whether of love, forgiveness, or truth, don't let them become echoes of regret. If you're holding back, ask yourself, what will be left unsaid if I wait? Because the greatest gifts we can give are often our honest words. Truth 3. The illusion of control. We strive for control in our lives, over our careers, our families, our finances, even our health. And while planning and effort are essential, the relentless pursuit of absolute control can be a trap, leading to anxiety and a fear of the unpredictable. Life, in its essence, is a dance with uncertainty. I spent much of my middle age meticulously, planning every detail. My calendar was a masterpiece of organization. My finances were meticulously managed. I believed that if I just worked hard enough, planned enough, worried enough, I could prevent any misfortune. And for a while, it felt like I was winning. Then came the unexpected curveballs. A sudden job loss, not due to my performance but economic. Shifts. A health scare that reminded me of my body's inherent vulnerability. A beloved friend moving across the country, disrupting our cherished routine. Each time, my carefully constructed world felt like it was crumbling. I would become consumed by worry, trying desperately to regain my footing, to force things back into their predetermined slots. The hardest part? Learning that true strength lies not in controlling everything, but in adapting to anything. Life will always throw us surprises, good and bad. If you find yourself rigidly clinging to plans, constantly battling against the unknown, ask yourself, what am I missing by resisting the flow of life? Because sometimes the most profound peace comes from surrendering to what is. Truth 4. The folly of comparison. From an early age, we're taught to compare our grades to our classmates, our achievements to our peers. This ingrained habit often follows us into adulthood, leading to a relentless cycle of self-doubt and dissatisfaction. We scroll through curated lives online, see dazzling successes, and inevitably, we measure ourselves against them, often falling short in our own eyes. I spent years comparing my life to others. My neighbor had a bigger house. My friend had a more impressive career. My cousin seemed to effortlessly achieve every goal. I'd look at my own life, which was perfectly good, and find it lacking. This constant comparison stole my joy, diminished my accomplishments, and made me feel perpetually inadequate. I was so busy looking at everyone else's garden that I neglected to tend to my own. The hardest part? Realizing that comparison is the thief of joy. Everyone is on their own unique journey, with their own set of challenges and blessings. If you find yourself constantly measuring your worth against others, ask yourself, whose life am I actually living? Because the only person you should strive to be better, that is the person you were yesterday. Truth 5. The power of presence. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught in the relentless cycle of doing. We plan for the future, dwell on the past, and often miss the profound beauty and wisdom contained within the present moment. Yet, it's in the quiet unfolding of now that true life is lived. I was often a prisoner of my own thoughts, replaying conversations, strategizing for tomorrow, worrying about what might come next. I rushed through meals, hurried through conversations, and constantly felt a pull to the next task, the next event. I believed that busyness equaled productivity, and that constantly looking ahead was the key to success. It wasn't until I slowed down, forced by the natural rhythm of aging, that I truly began to appreciate the simple miracle of now. The warmth of the sun on my skin, the laughter of a grandchild, the comforting silence of a quiet afternoon. These fleeting moments, once overlooked in my haste, became the most precious gems of my later years. The hardest part? Understanding that life isn't a destination. It's a series of moments, each one a gift. If you find yourself constantly distracted, always looking beyond the present, ask yourself, what am I missing by not being fully here now? Because the richness of life is found not in what we accumulate, but in how deeply we experience each passing second. Looking back, I don't regret the journey itself, but I do wish I had embraced these truths sooner. I spent too much time living in the shadows of what if and should have, instead of basking in the light of what is and what can be. Life is an extraordinary tapestry, woven with threads of joy and sorrow, challenge and triumph. It's easy to get caught up in the narratives we create for ourselves, the expectations others place upon us, or the fears that hold us captive. But before you let those things define your path, take a moment to reflect. If I could impart one final piece of wisdom, it's this: be brave enough to be yourself. Don't let unlived dreams haunt you. Speak your truth with love and kindness. Embrace the beautiful chaos of life. Stop comparing your journey to anyone else's. And above all, immerse yourself in the present moment, for it is the only true treasure you possess. What if you chose courage over comfort today? What if you dared to live a life truly aligned with your heart? The extraordinary awaits. Thank you for joining me today. I hope these reflections resonate with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one truth that spoke to you the most and how you might apply it to your own life. Your insights are invaluable to this community. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear these words. Your support helps us continue to share elder wisdom with the world. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you in the comments.